Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle channel. My name is Laura Schwalm. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment down below. Any information you guys need about the channel, of course, it is only in the description box down below, such as how to book a personal psychic soul reading, how to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or any other platform, and how to get your psychic soul healing merchandise. All that goodness is there for you. Today I was guided to give some soul healing messages with the Psychic Soul Healing Oracle deck and a few other mystery decks, as you can see. And depending on where I'm called from is where I'm going to choose from. This is a general reading. If it doesn't fit, please don't force it. It may resonate with you, it may not. If it does resonate with you, make sure to hit that like, comment, or donate. This is a timeless reading, which means when you see it is when you were supposed to, though the intention is always for the upcoming month. I'm going to do a twin mate, soul mate, twin flame reading. This is a 9-card spread, give or take. Sometimes I get called to pull a few extra. Okay, now for those of you that don't know, twin flame, with your twin flame, there is an intense attraction, recognition, and longing. We meet a twin flame often feels like home. They feel very familiar, undeniably intense bond, as though you have known them before. Many twin flames will end up making their way back to each other, even if it takes years, but not all. Depending on the level of work the twin flames do individually. While they are separate, some twin flame relationships can be toxic. However, they may never reunite and really shouldn't reunite because, again, they're not on the same level. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a look at their thoughts and feelings towards you, the blocks you guys face together, the blocks you face alone, how you can move through it with ease and grace, that what are you learning from the cycle, how to work towards your union, what the medicine for this particular moment, and what the outcome for the situation is. Again, we're going to use my Psychic Soul Healing Oracle deck. I have some homemade message cards. I really love the Earth deck by Stephen Farmer. And I have two different Doreen Virtue decks here. We have Healing with the Angels and another one. Okay, so again, we want to look at what your person, what their overall energy is towards you. I've already pretty much heavily shuffled the cards and cleansed the cards with my tuning fork. So I don't have to do it again now, but just so that you guys know, I like to waste time. And I either pick a card from where I am called to, or whichever card jumps out or pops out. So such as this one's calling to me, and we want to know, again, what your person is thinking towards you. Okay, they're thinking that you're cruel, and probably because you cut them off. I'm feeling like you cut them off because of a lot of games where your person might have been coming in and out, breadcrumbing you, talking to a few different people. And though they were doing this to you, because you reacted, they think that you're cruel. Which is definitely, by the way, a twin flame or a soulmate karmic theme, where you have two people that really do care about each other, but one person is either breadcrumbing and not taking the relationship as seriously as the other, and the other person feels like, again, that they're not being heard, that they're not being listened to, and there's a lot of projection going on. This again brings out a trigger. So when we have two people that are on the same wavelength, again, they look at the block. They look at the situation that transpired, and they eventually take responsibility for how each played a role in the situation. But what this is saying is that one person, there's projection going on here, and a lot of projection. So they think that you're cool. So they want to look at what you two can face together, the blocks that you two have to face together. Perseverance. So a lot of times with these soulmate twin flame relationships, because there's such an intense connection, we kind of think that it should be easy. But the truth of the matter is, you're getting someone that you truly are crazy about and have this intense relationship because, intense connection, because there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. And the way that we are able to do healing is first be aware of what we need to be healed in. And our twin flame soulmate relationship does that. It teaches us. And because there is an intense connection, it's based on love, unconditional love, which allows us to be able to persevere, really. But a lot of times if we're in a relationship that's like this, it might be saying that one or both of you keeps on saying, I don't really want to put the effort in. This is too much work. This is too hard. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to have to deal with this situation. So both parties have to make a conscious choice that they want to be in the relationship and that they want to put effort towards it. And a lot of times when we see this, it usually means that one person is not doing that. So it's again, what needs to be worked on together. Now, I want to see at the blocks that you face alone. Is spirit descending. Now, spirit descending, a lot of times this means that the relationship, if it's something that we need to work on, it means that we need to work on not being codependent. Because we all have a spirit part of ourselves, and the spirit part of self is God part of self, that by spiritual law, it says we need to love ourselves first, and we love ourselves by how much we're doing and giving to ourselves. And that doesn't mean buying things. It usually means filling ourselves with, what are you reading? Where are you choosing to spend your time, your energy, your focus, your money? Who are you surrounding yourself with? The people that build you up. Are you interactive in your hobbies, your interests, and your passions? Because that is when the spirit descends. The spirit descends and it gets grounded within the physical realm and within our physical body in the physical realm by giving and receiving of love through our passions. And that does not mean with our person. It means by ourselves. It means that we need to learn how to not be codependent by understanding what is our purpose first. Why are we here? What is the big picture to our story? I mean, we all have a unique purpose, and that purpose is what is why we're here, what is our destiny in the physical world. How do we contribute to humanity by giving and receiving of love, which is what is your free will? What are you choosing to do with your time? And again, it can't be a person. So both people need to have their spirit grounded in the physical realm. Both people need to work on their own unique individuality. They need to work on not being codependent. And that's a lot of times why this comes into play too. A lot of times we're used to being in a relationship that was codependent, where someone was doing everything for us, and we didn't really have to take responsibility or take into consideration the other person's feelings as much. Then and now we're with someone that's not doing those things, we're going to see them as cruel when they're really not really cruel. What they are is that they're balanced. And this is why if you have twin flames that are not on the same level because they don't do the work that, again, in the beginning, I said both parties need to do work separately in order to be together. If they do not do the work, and the work comes in the form of a dark night of the soul, a lot of times, which is an awakening to what is transpired in our life that is not good and how we contributed to those undesirable life experiences and what we need to do to heal our experience, unless both parties take responsibility and then ground the experience and go out into the world and find out who we are instead of holding on to this limitation again, which is a lot of times why we're in a codependent relationship, because we feel like we're lacking something. We feel like somebody else is bringing that to us. A lot of times we're in a relationship with someone that we admire certain character traits or certain gifts that they have or certain talents that they have. And so we feel if we're with someone like that, we can identify with them when that's not really our personality. Our relationship isn't our personality. We have to find that ourselves. So now we want to see, like, that's what both parties really need to do. But we want to see what you guys can do to move through it, like with grace. Because a lot of times people move through it, but they don't move through it gracefully. There's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of pointing fingers. There's when there's projection and there's cruelty, because you hurt me, no, you hurt me, then we're not looking at being graceful and trying to fix and heal the relationship. We're more concerned about being right. So when we're trying to move through something gracefully, we're not concerned about being right. We're just concerned about both parties feeling like they're being heard, both parties coming to a reconciliation by compromise many times. So let's just see what. Okay, cycle life. It's again by coming to it and by breaking the cycle. We might have come from a codependent relationship. We might have had a string of codependent relationships. So realizing that we have to, that it's the end of a cycle, that we have to put an end to a cycle. We also have to look at our ancestors and look at their relationships and see whether or not we mirror any of those behaviorisms and see how we handle our experiences. Are they the same? Is that something that needs to come to an end? You know, that's really what cycle of life means, in that it comes to a fullness, that it's complete. But the only way that it can be complete is actually for awareness, for us to become aware of, again, what is happening. And that doesn't happen unless, again, we see that we're hurt. The emotion is a gateway to spiritual healing. So I want to see also what we can do to work towards spiritual union. Intuition. So a lot of times when we're in a soulmate twin flame relationship, it's hard to tap into our intuition because there's so much emotion. And when there's so much emotion, it's what blocks us. Intuition comes on randomly. There is no emotional charge one way or the other about it. What usually there is, however, is a call to action right after this. How we know that there's intuition opposed to anxiety. We're coming from a place of anxiety, but then we're coming from a place of reacting more from a fear base. We never get good results from that. And because we usually then are going to come more from a reactionary standpoint, which is like, you hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you. I just reacted to it. So what we really need to do in order to again heal, what to move through this cycle is act on our intuition, not really, and our intuition only happens in the moment. This is important, not reflecting on what has happened. A lot of times when we're in soulmate twin flame relationships, it's difficult because we're coming in with a lot of our own traumas, our own experiences that have transpired that have jaded our perception about who we are, what the situation is, how to deal with the situation. And so we really have to be in the present moment, because in the present moment is when we're getting that divine knowledge, which comes in the form of, again, intuition. And that's the way that God communicates to us, through our intuition, through the higher self. And so when we're acting from this place, we're going to get a much more accurate outcome, a better outcome in our situation than if we're coming from a place of fear and anxiety. So what we're being told to do is to learn how to do that. That's a lot of times, as I said, easier said than done. So what I would suggest is, create balance in your life, and create balance in your life by making sure that you're not with this person every single moment of the day, because your choice of focus is your greatest tool to deal with anxiety. So you won't be stressed out all the time. So when you see something, you will automatically react. But then there's also in the moment, you're getting what's most accurate, the information most accurate, opposed to, again, what might have happened. So, again, a lot easier said than done, but this is our greatest tool, believe it or not, in our relationships. Not when we're stuck in our head and ruminating on past experiences that are going to jade our senses about what's actually happening. You're going to get a lot more accurate intuition. So that might also mean doing body mind work, doing yoga, training yourself to be in the moment. Because again, past relationship problems create a lot of anxiety. Trauma creates a lot of anxiety. And if we're coming from that place, it's technically impossible to feel anything or to actually even see anything. So now we want to know how to work towards union. Clear family karma. So it's, again, a lot of times, as I said earlier, we are born into families that wound up, our parents didn't stay together, or if they stayed together, the relationship was codependent, and there was a lot of yelling, there was a lot of screaming, there was a lot of fear, which, again, a lot of times unconsciously, both parties know that they don't want to have the same relationship that their parents had, because there was a lot of this, and they wind up creating that because they react the same way. They have the same behaviorisms, the same habits. They deal with everything the same exact way that their family did. So inevitably, they're never able to tap into this. And really, what would heal that, again, is grounding yourself within your passions, your hobbies, finding what stirs your spirit and really feeding it, because then you're not going to be codependent. It's impossible, because when you're feeding your passions and your hobbies, you're connecting to other people as well as connecting to what you love. And that creates new worlds, opens up new worlds for you, which allows you to create balance in your relationships. And balance means that you're able to set appropriate boundaries. You're able to have better perception about what's really going on within your relationship, instead of coming from past traumas or reflecting always on what has happened instead of where you want to go within your relationships. So this is really important. excuse me. And now we want to know, what is the medicine for the moment? Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim within your relationship. We are only the victim in our relationship if we allow ourselves to. And that's if we give our relationships too much time, we deny ourselves too much in our relationship. And denying could just mean not speaking our truth as much because we don't want to rock the boat, or not feeding our own passions and hobbies, losing ourselves in the relationship, because relationships are not written in stone, nothing lasts forever. And the biggest wounds are created by people that have invested too much time and energy in relationships that they did not get that time and energy back, and then they felt disposed of. So it's how much you give is going to be the size of the whole. So it doesn't mean not to give. What it means is to be balanced. If you're feeding yourself, you actually can see how much a person's supposed to feed you. If you're feeding yourself and someone's breadcrumbing you, you can see that they're breadcrumbs. Even if someone else, another person isn't giving you, they don't need to. You need to. So you know the difference, because when you feed yourself, then the universe brings you people and situations and experiences that are actually going to feed you. Now, when someone comes along and they're breadcrumbing you, then you could actually see that there's really nothing there. So you would be smart not to overgive to a person that's breadcrumbing you, because what you're teaching that person unconsciously is that they don't really need to give you. People don't treat you the way you want to be treated. People treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. So we are not the victim when we take care of ourselves. When we clear family karma, we don't get stuck in these patterns of cruelty. We can persevere within our relationships. We're able to act appropriately on our intuition instead of repeating unnecessary cycles that block us from health, wealth, and all around emotional fulfillment, especially within our relationships. So let's see what the final outcome to our situation is. Invincibility. So again, soulmate twin flame relationships are karmic situations, which means learn. So they have the power to withstand the test of time. Believe it or not, as much as you may hear, oh, twin flame, soulmate relationships, they're the hardest. They're the hardest because they require us to show up for ourselves, as well as pay attention to the other person. Trauma will cause us to be stuck within ourselves, to be stuck within our own needs, wants, desires, and not really take into consideration the other person. But when you have a twin mate or a soul mate, a twin flame, I should say, a soulmate relationship, you want to give to that person. You want to figure out how to make the relationship work. The key is, most of the time, if not all the time, we need to find our balance. And the only way to do that is to really be present to what that person needs, wants, expects within the relationship, without losing ourselves and our own unique individuality. And I'm telling you, there is no better way to clear family karma, none, than to, again, find yourself, ground yourself in things that, again, stir your spirit. Spirit descending means that the spiritual realm is of the mind. So our ideas, our unique creativity, how we channel out our unique individuality, whether you're a writer, whether you're a singer, whether you're whatever the dream you have. And it doesn't mean that you're good at your dream. And we have to start somewhere. It takes a mustard seed. God makes that multiply. So it's again, the spirit descends when you do something that you love so much that you become almost like water to it, meaning water is least resistance. You don't have a feeling or a judgment one way or the other about it. That you continue to do what you love so much that you are in that realm of meditation, the way a painter gets lost when they're painting, or a singer gets lost when they're singing. They get lost in the element of the astral realm, and the astral realm is the spiritual realm where when you can imagine it, you can create it. If you can't imagine what you're trying to manifest, you can't manifest it. Well, this is the beginning stages. So spirit descending says us first. You can persevere in anything, if you are consistent with yourselves. But it's the number one way to heal these really hard, soul relationships, these soul bonds that can bring us down. So I want to just see the final outcome of the situation. And it's grounding, again, telling us exactly what is said all through the reading, which if you ground your relationship, it's going to be fine. It's going to be, because again, twin flame soulmate relationships are all about unconditional love. That it seems that no matter what this person does, no matter how mad you get, you just can't walk away. That you may get mad for that day and be obsessive about it, but you find that you still are thinking about that person. And that is unconditional love. God is unconditional love. You are in physical form to learn unconditional love. You cannot learn unconditional love without grounding yourself and grounding the relationship, meaning get out of your head, get into the here and now, get into your body. Now, as I had mentioned, we have a few other decks, and I'm just going to called to pull randomly just as end messages to see what other advisory or information it wants to give. Okay, so we see whale breach. So breach, let's see what else. So that's breach. Like open relationship and earth magic. So earth magic. So again, this is talking more again about finding your first and second chakra. Grounding. Grounding is all anything having to do with the earth. Anything having to do with the earth is grounding, and it's about being able to see the signs and the symbols and the synchronicities that move us along on our spiritual path when the spirit is descending. As I know that I pulled this card up a few times. So when the spirit is descending, so again, that can only happen through, again, grounding. But the thing is, what allows the spirit to descend even more is when we're guided by the universe through synchronicities, through soul connections and spiritual connections, that there's a whole spiritual realm that we actually get to see when we're grounded. And whale is, again, anything water is, again, that second chakra. It's the water element. It is to be able to go with the flow of life, to be able to, and we can, again, only do that if we are grounded and if we are, like, again, balanced within our physical world experiences. And a lot of people aren't, because they might go to work, they might have friends, but their relationship is what is their primary thing that brings them happiness and joy and passion. And that is when it becomes very imbalanced. And so when we pull a water sign, especially if it's breach, a lot of times what we'll see is the energy is going up and down, up and down, up and down. Meaning it's good some days, bad other days, good some days. And the problem with that is then we're always waiting for the shoe to drop. And we don't want to look for the shoe to drop. We want to look to where we want to go instead of where we're afraid to go. And just for kicks, whoop, let's see. Just popped out. Intention. So this speaks of if we speak what we want into an intention, and we have a positive intention, and the positive is not just for yourself. It needs to be in the best interest to both parties in the relationship. If the intention is of a higher vibration, then there's unconditional love here. If you're grounded and you put intention towards your relationship, you're going to be fine, because again, there's unconditional love here. There's perseverance here. It's no one wants to be a victim here. It doesn't say that. What it says is that needs to be family karma that's cleared, which a lot of times it's because, again, we're not grounded. We're coming from a place of what happened in the past that was painful. And we tend to repeat these painful karmic situations that we are the victim, because we're not coming from a place that's here and now. We're repeating a cycle that's keeping us stuck in limitation instead of coming from our intuition, acting on our intuition, which only happens in the now, only happens in the present moment. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. And when that happens, then there's a call to action right after intuition. This is how we know that it's intuition, not anxiety. And that is when our spirit descends. That is when we're again able to break cycles of codependency. We're able to break other karmic cycles, because really it's only God that can heal our mind and our heart. And that's again by bringing us the opportunities and the situations that are going to shape us and create us and mold us and transcend us. And that only happens through feeding our passions and again seeing the magic. Like there really is magic within ourselves. The supernatural part of ourself is God part of self, and there's the supernatural part of life, of earth, that when we run into earth angels and we see synchronicities like the same numbers on the alarm clock that repeat over and over and over again, that are giving us confirmation. There's a whole spiritual realm there. So if we're able to really ground ourselves, then we're able to go with the flow. We're able to go with the flow of life. We're able to follow through on our intention. Now, last card, just for kicks. Now I'm gonna pick from just my, and see what, these are just message cards from soulmate, like what your soulmate would want to say to you. Euphoria. So the thing is, again, that's a deep, soulful connection, and it's very common. That's our soulmates have this, twin flames have this euphoric connection. One that's almost feels like it's of ecstasy. It's one that makes us feel like when you're around the person, it gives you more energy, more excitement, which is euphoric, which understand again why you have this connection from a spiritual level. Is to understand you have a lot of healing to do a lot of times, and we wouldn't stick around long enough unless we had this, again, because the lessons are hard. So, and would you still want me after all this? So might be saying, like, the cruelty that has transpired within your relationship, the cruelty again, by God in the way of the real intention. So you really weren't able to ground it. And when we don't ground it, it's again, we're up in our head and we repeat cycles of victimization. We really have to like clear family karma in order to act on intuition, so our spirit can descend, so we can again manifest. Because when you're manifesting in the physical realm, the earth plane, and it is kind of considered like earth magic. It's easy to persevere. Again, when we're doing what we love and we're able to go with the flow, it's very easy to do that. I hope you all enjoyed this little reading of soulmate twin flame relationship and what you guys need to do to heal and balance your relationship in order to create the life experiences that you want to have. Understand, some of you guys might not be together, and that would be obvious, like I said, because of the cruelty. But understand, until the spiritual lesson is usually learned by one or the other party, usually both parties don't learn it at the same time, but at least one person learns a spiritual lesson, the karmic bond is broken. So by loving yourself and by having your spirit descend, a lot of times you'll wind up raising your vibration and meeting new people, and those new people will actually make you look at your soulmate or your twin flame line differently, which is what breaks the karmic bond. So if you're someone that feels like, I just want this relationship to end, a lot of times, like I said, even if the person isn't in your life and you're like, I still feel like they have a hold on me, if you allow yourself to find yourself, you'll break that karmic connection, whether you're with the person or you're without the person. Because again, a karmic relationship means that there's a karmic lesson. And when you learn the lesson, you break the karmic bond. And that means that that person that was mean to you, that person that was cruel to you, that person that was cruel to you is the one that has to eat the lesson, meaning that they're the ones that has to eat the crap, because they, again, on some level knew what they were doing. They didn't think that there would be consequences, or they were more caught up in their own feelings than the relationship between the two. And because of that, they're the ones that loses. So remember, soulmate twin flame relationships are all about learning the spiritual lesson, and not all the time are they going to be together, but a lot of times they can be together. It's choice, because there's unconditional love. And a lot of times they are together because they put so much time and effort and energy into the relationship that even though a lot of times they feel that it's toxic or bad or hurtful, they're like, I put so much time and effort into this relationship, I'm still going to try. But understand, you can do that, but if you feed yourself and you allow your spirit to descend, where you break any cycle of codependence, then a lot of times you either make that person change unconsciously, because they're not doing it consciously, they just feel you're changing, so then they ought change, or the relationship just dies, it breaks, because it can't withhold one person being on such a higher vibration than the other person. I hope you guys enjoyed this psychic soul real healing spread today. And until next time, be true to yourself, love yourself. This has been Laura, the voice of truth. Goodbye.